I sang karaoke last night, so my voice is shot. In the opening scene, we are introduced to a billionaire named Richie and his wife Hunter, who are enjoying a dinner party with other affluent individuals. The occasion is Richie's recent accomplishments in business, which has garnered his company a lot of profit. His parents appear to be extremely proud of him. After the dinner comes to an end, Richie and Hunter retire to their new, opulent house located in upstate New York. Despite her newfound life of luxury, Hunter, who comes from a working-class background, spends most of her days feeling bored and unfulfilled. She occupies herself by cooking, playing mobile games, and sketching. In fact, she finds herself emotionally suppressed and isolated because Richie is always distant and inconsiderate towards her. At one dinner, Hunter attempts to initiate a conversation with her husband, but he is too preoccupied with work-related texts to give her the attention she craves. A few days after the dinner party, Hunter discovers that she is pregnant and shares the news with her husband, who is overjoyed at the prospect of starting a family. To celebrate this momentous occasion, the couple decides to go out for dinner with Richie's parents. During the meal, Hunter wants to tell one of her childhood stories, but her father-in-law abruptly interrupts her and starts talking about business matters. Feeling disheartened, Hunter retreats into herself and begins staring at the glistening ice cubes in her glass. As her mood darkens, she impulsively takes one of the cubes into her mouth and begins biting down on it, causing discomfort and awkwardness among the other diners. The next day, Hunter's mother-in-law Catherine enters her room and hands her a gift about postpartum depression, sharing that it helped her during her own pregnancy. Catherine also takes the opportunity to comment on Hunter's appearance, suggesting that she would look more beautiful with longer hair, as Richie prefers women with longer locks. Later, while reading the same book, Hunter comes across a passage that inspires her to do something unexpected. In a moment of reckless abandon, she reaches for a small marble from her trinkets and swallows it whole. Surprisingly, this makes her feel a lot better. Marbles are the new keto. Upon returning home from work, Richie is surprised to find his wife in a good mood. He questions the reason behind her happiness, to which she responds that she did something unexpected that made her proud of herself. However, when Richie inquires further about what it was, Hunter lies and says that it was merely a decision to choose blue curtains. The following morning, as Richie prepares for work, he becomes upset with Hunter after discovering that she has ruined one of his silk ties. Later that day, Hunter is able to pass the small marble she had swallowed earlier, grabbing it from the sink without any signs of disgust. Shortly after, she is summoned by her mother-in-law for a conversation, during which Catherine inquires about Hunter's previous employment before marrying Richie. Hunter admits to having worked in retail, specifically selling toiletries. Hearing this, Catherine mentions that Hunter is a very lucky woman, as she got the chance to marry Richie. She also questions whether Hunter is truly happy or simply putting on a facade. The latter insists that she is indeed happy, despite her expressions suggesting otherwise. One day, while cleaning the house, Hunter comes across a tempting object, a thumbtack, which she decides to swallow. Despite her initial hesitation, Hunter eventually puts the thumbtack in her mouth, only to have her tongue poked. She tries to resist the urge to swallow it, but eventually succumbs to the impulse and ingests the object, feeling a sense of relief. That same evening, Richie returns home with some friends in tow. Hunter intends to greet them at the pool, but the pain caused by the thumbtack suddenly intensifies, prompting her to rush to the bathroom. She excretes the thumbtack, but the ensuing struggle leaves a lot of blood on the toilet seat. Fortunately, before Richie can find out about it, Hunter quickly cleans it up and exits the bathroom. At the pool, one of Richie's friends congratulates Hunter on her pregnancy. However, things take a strange turn when he asks for a hug, claiming that he is feeling lonely. Hunter reluctantly agrees to the hug, but it becomes apparent that she needed the hug more than he did. As time passes, Hunter becomes increasingly drawn to consuming non-edible items that she finds lying around her home, including metal figurines, batteries, book pages, safety pins, and various other objects. It seems as if the thrill of eating these items is incredibly exhilarating for her, and she is unable to resist the temptation to do so. One day, during her routine ultrasound appointment, the sonogram technician detects an abnormality in Hunter's abdomen. She is quickly rushed in for emergency surgery, where the surgeon discovers a plethora of inedible objects that had been trapped in her intestine. After a thorough examination, the doctor diagnoses Hunter with pica, a psychological disorder that compels individuals to eat non-food items. Upon returning home, Richie is understandably angry and confused, wondering what could possibly be wrong with her. Hunter claims that she does not know what is happening to her and has never even heard of pica before. Concerned for his wife's well-being, Richie and his parents decide to arrange for Hunter to see a psychiatrist in the city. Initially, they insist on being present during her sessions, until the psychiatrist Alice requests to speak with Hunter alone. During their private conversation, Alice asks Hunter how it makes her feel to swallow these objects, and the latter reveals that she enjoys the feel of their textures in her mouth. Furthermore, Richie hires a Syrian man named Louis to keep a closer eye on his wife while he is at work. Unfortunately, this only serves to frustrate Hunter further. Over the next several days, Hunter becomes increasingly irritated with Louis' attempts to assist her in the kitchen. He begins to criticize her mental health issues, insinuating that if she had gone through what he had in Syria, she would not have such problems. Furthermore, he even inspects her before allowing her to use the bathroom. However, despite all this, the obsessed Hunter still finds a way to swallow non-food items as a form of satisfaction. The scene then shifts to Richie's birthday celebration, a lavish party at their mansion. During the party, Hunter discovers that everyone in attendance is aware of her swallowing problem. She confronts Richie, asking why he told everyone, but he dismisses her, claiming that it is his special day and he does not want her to ruin it. This leaves Hunter feeling hurt and upset. Later that night, as the couple is having coitus, Hunter abruptly stops and demands that Richie apologize before they can continue. During her next therapy session, Hunter shares a deeply personal and traumatic experience. She reveals that she was not raised by her biological father and has never met him, but she keeps a picture of him. Hunter also discloses that she was actually conceived after her mom was forced upon by a stranger. One day, while in the garden, Hunter becomes fixated on the soil, but manages to resist the urge to consume it. However, while washing her hands, she overhears her husband talking to her therapist on the phone. Hunter realizes that Richie has bribed the therapist to reveal what they discussed during her sessions. Alice divulges all the information about her last session with Hunter, including her mother's case. This sends Hunter into a state of panic. As soon as Richie leaves for work, she breaks down in tears. A short while later, Louis walks into the room to check on Hunter, only to discover her under the bed. Feeling bad, he joins her there and gently pats her shoulder, providing a source of comfort and support during this difficult time. In the dead of night, Hunter wakes up from her sleep and notices Louis lying soundly beside her. Her compulsion to swallow inanimate objects once again rises, so she starts scouring the drawers frantically. When nothing comes in sight, she hastily picks up a screwdriver and swallows it. However, this turns out to be a bad decision, as Hunter starts choking, prompting Louis to wake up from his sleep. He immediately dials 911 and rushes her to the hospital. Fortunately, the surgeons are able to extract the swallowed item from her body without harming Hunter or the fetus. That baby is going to grow up to become shoe nice. Following this frightening ordeal, Hunter finds herself under pressure as Richie and his parents coerce her to sign papers, committing her to a psychiatric hospital for 7 months until she delivers the baby. Although Hunter initially resists, her husband blackmails her by threatening to divorce her if she refuses. This leaves her with no other option but to comply, much to the sympathy of Louis, who is observing everything from nearby. The following day, Hunter packs her belongings and prepares to leave for the psychiatric hospital. But at the last second, she returns to her room, claiming to have forgotten her charger. Surprisingly, Louis meets her inside and encourages her to run through the woods. Hunter obliges, and once she's out of sight, Louis stages her disappearance as an escape. I mean, it was. Hunter manages to hitchhike to a motel, and before entering, she pockets some soil. Later, she calls her husband and confesses that she only got pregnant to make him happy, and that they rushed into things too quickly. Richie speaks kindly to her, trying to convince her to come back. But when she refuses, he begins to belittle and insult her, stating that she is good for nothing and not skilled at a single thing.
That's not true, Richie. I eat stuff.
After the call ends, Hunter crushes her cell phone and spends the rest of the night alone, watching TV and eating soil. The following day, Hunter checks out of her motel room and proceeds to call her mother to ask if she can stay with her. Unfortunately, the latter declines, stating that her other daughter is currently residing with her. Finding herself without a place to go, Hunter decides to hitchhike to the home of her biological father, William Irwin. Upon reaching his house, she discovers that William is celebrating his birthday with his family and friends. Hunter goes close to him, but William assumes that she is the parent of one of their daughter's friends. Hunter clarifies that she is not a parent and mentions her mother's name. Hearing this, William immediately recognizes her as his estranged daughter. After getting a chance to talk alone, Hunter proceeds to question why he took advantage of her mother, and William admits that he felt powerful when he committed such acts. However, after serving several years in jail, he realizes his mistakes and regrets them. The conversation becomes emotional as William expresses his shame and guilt for his past actions. Hunter inquires if he feels shame towards her and whether she is like him. William immediately refutes these claims, assuring Hunter that she is not akin to him and bears no responsibility for the past events. As Hunter's emotions overwhelm her, William offers consolation and reminds her that she is blameless and should not carry the burden of guilt. After finding solace in her emotional conversation with William, Hunter feels ready to move forward with her life. She makes the difficult decision to undergo an abortion and visits a clinic where she is prescribed medication for the procedure. Hunter takes the pills while eating lunch in a food court, and despite the bustling surroundings, she experiences the physical effects of the abortion in a public restroom, alone with her thoughts. Once the procedure is complete, Hunter feels a sense of liberation and relief wash over her. She recognizes that this decision was not an easy one, but it was the right one for her at this moment in her life. With newfound freedom and a clear head, Hunter sets out to embark on a fresh start, leaving the pain and trauma of her past behind.